So here we have Pudu Form 4 midterm bahagian C biology paper. So first and foremost, we have to identify what this question is about. So the entirety is focused on stem cell therapy. So it's actually very important what you know about stem cell therapy. So this is related to your Form 4, Chapter 6. You identify the chapter, and from there you can start working on the question. So it says here, it's a regenerative medicine. So regenerative medicine means you can repair or make something new, right? So if you remember what regeneration is, a lizard, all right? Lizard, if you chop off their tail, okay, they can regenerate a new one, all right? So that's regenerative medicine, or that's regeneration, and it can be linked to regenerative medicine. And so here, it says here that this diagram shows the potential application of human stem cells, right? And so, based on this diagram, you have to give the meaning of stem cells, all right? So, what are stem cells? Stem cells are cells that can become anything that the body needs, all right? So your first point comes at the fact that it can divide into new cells of same type. That's your first point, right? Your second point being that you can see right here, you have nerve cells, you have cardiac cells, muscle cells, intestinal cells, liver cells. And then from there, it can go from nerve cells, it can form the brain, from the cardiac cells, it can form the heart, and so on. So in this case, it can differentiate. The cells here, the stem cells undergo differentiation of stem cells. So if you don't know what differentiation means, it means convert. All right? They will become 它们会变 into different kinds of stems, into different kinds of other cells from the stem cells into other cells. So this is how you define the meaning of stem cell based on this diagram. Whenever you see something that's based on the diagram, you have to refer back. You cannot just say it off memorizing. Next is about leukemia. So here it gives you a very brief description of leukemia. So I'm going to go through one by one. So leukemia is a blood cancer where too many white blood cells are produced and these white blood cells do not mature normally. So what this means is that in the human body, we have a lot of bones, right? A lot of bones. And each bone contains something called bone marrow. Okay, they have bone marrow. And then these bone marrow, they will help you create stem cells. All right? And these stem cells, we've said before, it can become any other cell. It can become any kinds of cells. So in this case, it's the white blood cell. And if you don't know, remember what white blood cells are, they help you fight diseases, right? In Chinese, leukemia is also called, if I'm not mistaken, 血啦，白血癌. So leukemia is a cancer. And we know that if cancer happens, so normally they'll create normal white blood cells like this, alright? These are the normal white blood cells. Okay? But then, when you have cancer, the cells are going to divide via mitosis uncontrollably. Okay? How does it divide uncontrollably? Basically, it will create a lot, like this, very fast. create a lot of white blood cells in the bone marrow. Okay, so this is what leukemia will look like. Okay, and when they produce too quickly, when they undergo mitosis too quickly, they don't have enough time to grow. No, not enough time to grow. And therefore, they become immature. That's why 他们不可以成熟。Okay， 然后呢 these white blood cells will accumulate, they will gather, 会集中在那个 bone marrow, alright? And then 因为 stem cells, because stem cells also produce other cells, right? Like your stem cells also got produce red blood cell one. But you see, there are so many white blood cells, right? There are so many white blood cells that they will force these red blood cells out. These red blood cells also haven't developed one. Not developed. So usually we call these red blood cells that are immature reticulocytes. No need memorize how this name. No need memorize. It's extra info. Okay. So they will push all these red blood cells out. Okay. And they cannot function properly because they are not developed. So cannot function properly. Okay. So this is how leukemia will look like. Alright. So here the question asks, justify whether stem cell therapy is suitable to treat cancer like leukemia. Okay. So you get the first mark when you say yes, that's your first mark. Okay. If you say no, right, if you say no, in some cases, they will also give you the mark, but you have to justify. If you're not able to justify, then then you cannot get that one mark. Then you lose a lot of marks, right? So in this case, we all know that stem cell therapy actually can help treat leukemia. How does it treat leukemia? All right. So this is person A. This is person B. Person A has leukemia. Person B is healthy. So what they will do is that they will take the bone marrow, okay, from the healthy person's pelvic. Pelvic 就是盆骨的意思. That means around your hip bone, basically your hip bone, your 盆骨, I think. So they will inject, they will use a syringe or something, they will take out the bone marrow. So this is your bone marrow. And I said what bone marrow has? They have stem cells. Okay. Now you ask me, why hip bone? Why not your rib cage or your any other bone? Because number one, hip bone is rich in bone marrow. Okay. Number two is also safe. Because let's say if I take the bone marrow from your spine, 你的颈椎那边, it might accidents may happen and it might paralyze you. It might affect your nervous system. 它可以弄到你的神经线错坏，它可能不小心可以弄到你的神经线，当你插那个针进去的时候。So that's why we use hip bone most of the time. So this hip bone contains a lot of bone marrow that contains a lot of stem cells, and then these stem cells will be injected into the person. Alright, it will be injected into the person. Alright. So what happens is that when they inject into it, because they are stem cells, right? So when they inject into it, they can then use to differentiate. So the stem cells will differentiate, okay, into immune cells or whatever, or any healthy cells lah, right? Any healthy cells that they need. For example, your red blood cell, your white blood cell. Okay, and then they'll go into then it'll be injected into the person with leukemia to replace any cells that are damaged by chemotherapy or the disease lah. All right. So these stem cells can develop into white blood cell to destroy the immature white blood cells. They can also produce red blood cell, because remember, here is that the red blood cells are being forced out. 他们被那个很多 white blood cells, 很多 immature 的 white blood cells 推出去了, all pushed out, so they're not developed properly and hence cannot function properly. So to combat this, we have the healthy stem cells to produce functioning red blood cells. So these are functioning red blood cells, so that you can transport oxygen and carry out life processes. So that is how stem cell therapy can help with leukemia patients.